Yeah, straight out of the freezer. I had it in the freezer, and that is the bones from the turkey. Thanksgiving in Canada is in October, so and we're in November now. So I had it in the freezer, and it has the wings and the chest cavity, and I think the neck is over here as well. But it was in the freezer. Point is, it was in the freezer. Yeah, it doesn't look appealing now, but we are trying to make a stock out of it, and that was done on purpose, eh? So I've got some fresh thyme. I wish I could say it's out of the garden, but winter kicking in now, so I might have the luxury of going in the backyard. I have some cloves of garlic, some black peppercorns, a couple stalks of celery, onion, a large onion all sliced up, two carrots. And what we're gonna do now, we're gonna top that with water. You want to add enough water to cover everything, because this is going to be the base for this turkey soup. Now, in the sort of carcass or the bones of the turkey, there's a ton of meat. Later on, what we're going to do, and after we're going to bring this up to a boil first of all, then we're going to reduce it to a simmer and let it simmer for about 40 to 45 minutes or so, just to pull out all that flavor. There is meat in between here, especially the chicken, the turkey breast and stuff like that. There's some meat in there. I want that later on. Everything else we're going to fish out at some point, but we're going to allow it to cool. When we get to that part, I'll show you, but for now, ooh-wee! Uncle Chris talking too much. Anyhow, bring it up to a boil and reduce it to a simmer. And as the title of the video says, there's a tomato element to it. So I've got some Roma tomato. Any tomato you want. This is unfortunately the last from my garden for this year. I'm just trying to use it up now. So that was some olive oil, a bit of sea salt. I mean, what, some crushed ground black pepper on there. And we're going to stick that in a high oven, so 475 degrees, just for these to roast off and give us all that nice sweetness and that lovely tomato element. Yeah, all you would need to do as it starts coming up to a boil, sort of skim off the foam here. Try not to get any of the peppercorns because they may tend to float, but that straight down the sink. 20 minutes in the oven and the tomatoes are all roasted off nicely. What I'm going to do is allow it to cool down. I'll peel the skins off and then we'll crush it. You have two options. You can crush it, or you can go ahead and chop it up into small pieces. Totally up to you. With the skins removed. Now, if you wanted to leave some of the skin, you can do that, especially if you were able to flame roast the tomatoes. I did it in the oven, but if you grill it outside and have that nice little char on there, that would give the soup a lovely flavor. All I'm doing now is crushing it. You also have the option of chopping it up if you want, but I much prefer to crush it like this in my mortar and pestle, yeah? It's been an hour. I know earlier I think I said 40 minutes or 45 minutes or something, but I allowed it to go, giving me enough time to prep all the other ingredients. And just look at that, boy. What we're going to do now is strain this. We're going to take the pieces of bones out and we're going to remove all the meat from it, because we need the meat from it. The broth, that sort of stock that we made there, that is the magic for this soup. That's where all the key to flavor lies there. Now, if you wanted to do this for 2 hours, even better. You get more flavor out of it, low and slow, yeah? But for now, we're going to strain this and continue. This is all the solids that's left back, the celery, the carrot, and everything else, the garlic and all that. It's done its job. So this is where I'm going to remove this now. And we have all of that broth there. Over here, I have the same pot back on low heat. And here are the bones with all the meat. Once that cools down, it has to be able to allow you to touch it and handle it. Notice the smoke that you're seeing there, the steam, it means it's hot. Once it cools down, I'm going to strip it down, get all that meat out. But for now, let's continue. Hit it with a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. And we're going to repeat a lot of the flavors, as you will notice, when we made the sort of stock, which means we're going to start off with a large onion, all diced up. I have some more of that thyme. I stripped off all the sort of tough woody stems. In goes celery and carrots, all pretty much the same size pieces that I chopped up. As the fun happens in there, we're going to go in with some fresh ground black pepper. Again, repeating just about all the flavors, but we're finishing up now when you want that pronounced flavor in the actual soup. To help in breaking things down, I'm going in with some sea salt. Later on, we'll taste it and adjust the salt. We'll need quite a bit more salt than that, but I'm just going to hit that a little stir, and on that low heat I'm going to let that sweat down for about 5 minutes before I add the garlic. Yeah, I'm going to add a ton of garlic in here. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention in making the stock, if you wanted to add a couple bay leaves in there, you can. I'm telling you, that bay leaf added a nice little dimension. So not only is this soup a revival of the leftovers from Thanksgiving or Christmas turkey or whatever it is also, you know, it's flu season here in Canada. It is the fall. We're moving into the winter. So you notice all that garlic and fresh herbs. We're going to add a couple slices of ginger in there. Yo, this thing here, come flu, we're ready for you. We're ready. Everything is starting to soften up nicely. The rest of it, all the flavors pull out of the onion and celery already. Later on, that's going to continue. Yes, kitchen is smelling wicked as usual. This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is what 8 cloves of crushed garlic looks like. I'm going to hit it in there, and I'm only going to leave it in there for about 15 to 20 seconds just to release all that nice flavors without burning it. And boom, that crushed up roasted tomato is making an appearance. Boy oh boy, kitchen smelling real nice, I ain't gonna lie. Then I'm gonna move everything to the side, just pull it back, creating a sort of a crater or an empty spot there in the middle. And this is where we're gonna go in with the Moruga Hill rice. And you know, less is more in this case here, so all you want is about half a cup of that. And the reason why I created that space there is because this is the one time I tell everyone, don't wash the rice, because we want all that niceness from the rice here. The starch and everything else will help to thicken up the soup, give the soup a bit of body. But the reason why I'm doing it like this now, I want that to sort of toast, and in toasting, the nuttiness of the rice will just jump back at you and say, hey, you're using the best rice. Notice how nice and dry it is there. That toasted up there, boy, I'm telling you that there is pure niceness. Anyhow, time to continue. We're gonna mix all of that together now. Give that another minute just to combine, and then it's just to ladle in all of that nice stuff that we created. Since this is not your typical Caribbean soup with a lot of yam and dumpling and dasheen and green banana and all kind of thing like that, potato, nice cubes of potato there. I'm gonna hit that a mixy mix like so, and it's time to start adding that stuff back to the pot. Any leftover stuff that you didn't use freezes nicely, so you can make another soup another time. And this is all about that broth. We spent a considerable amount of time and energy into making that broth, so yeah, let the broth shine through. Anyhow, we're bringing this up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it to a simmer to make sure the potato, the rice, the carrot, everything else cooks down. In the meanwhile, you can strip the turkey bones off the meat of the turkey bone, and have it ready. Got a lovely bubble happening there. And this won't take long to cook now. It's just for the rice to cook through. And, well, we cut up the carrot small and the potatoes small as well, too. We did say flu fighting as well, so there's a couple large chunks, and I like it big, so later on we can fish it out. Nobody ain't trying to chew on a big old piece of ginger, no. 10 minutes into boiling, and I like adding the meat to the pot now. Give that another quick stir, because I want, once you have that turkey out on cooling after we made the stock with it, it will dry up, so it's going to add back moisture and flavor into here as well too, but the moisture will go back into the pieces of turkey. Just look at that niceness happening there. Oi! 35 minutes later, and you'll see we can get it. The rice grains are nice and plump now. The longer this sits in here, the rice grain will go more plump. It will thicken up the soup even more. This is exactly where I want it to be. Now, as far as finishing up, I like to hit it with a final dose of fresh ground black pepper. And of course, I love parsley in there. Now remember, we spoke about the flu fighting or the flu prevention or whatever you want to attach it to the flue. It's winter time. That parsley there brings another lot of sort of a niceness to the soup.